It's funny, man, because I remember as a kid hearing all these guys brag about how many people they slept with, and I always thought, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to have a huge number. Like I
Yeah.
was the opposite of that mindset. I think I only slept with like 10 people. You know what I mean? I don't. There was a guy in high school that I knew. He was over 300 by senior year, and that fuck that, dude. That's not the kind of life I wanted to live.
I was very similar to Doug, where I didn't have sex until I was 18. I think Doug was 21 when he had sex the first time. And what's weird is in our household growing up, sex was not a taboo thing. Like, we openly discussed sex all the time in our house growing up. So I never looked at sex as a huge deal until I had it. I can honestly say the majority of my sexual encounters in life have been completely accidental. Anytime I went out looking for sex, I never found it. But when I was just a passerby on this spinning globe, that's when sex just happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I know there are people that pride themselves on their notches on their bedposts or what have you, but I've just never really thought of it like that. Like, if I could go back, I can think of people I'd like to take off that bedpost and
Absolutely
reduce that number.
Absolutely.
Mistake.
I can think of 2 in the last year I'd like to take off.
I can't think of any in the last 9 years because I've been married for the last 9 years. So,
that's good.
Previously to that, though, in the year before that I got married to my ex-wife, there was a lot of mistakes made in that year. Like, I just was like, yeah, I'm going to sleep with everybody. I was drunk all the time.
When my separation became legal in 2011, we didn't get divorced until 2012, but we had formal signed paperwork in 2011. I made terrible choices. I was drinking a lot of Jameson, and I was so angry at the female gender at that time that I didn't even look at women as human beings. I looked at them as objects. No pun intended, going back to our last story. Side note, women, I do not look at women as objects now.
No, but when you've been scarred or you've been fucked up, you will change your way of thinking for a small period of time. Whether you mean to or not. Like, man, whiskey always, I was such a bad drunk. Either wanting to fight or hook up, one of the two. It didn't really seem like there was another option. I don't know, man. I didn't know Doug was 21. How old were you, John?
What?
When you lost your virginity?
I could be wrong on Doug's. It could be 22. You'd have to... Doug, how old were you when you lost your virginity? I know it was in your young 20s.
21.
So 21.
Fucked around a lot.
In public, no less.
Fucked around a lot, but never wanted to have intercourse unless it was somebody that actually I cared about and, shit like that. So that's part of the reason why. And I couldn't have lost my virginity to a better girl. Still friends with her. And she's still drop dead gorgeous. Fucking girl spoiled me. You should never lose your virginity to somebody that she knows who she is. I'm still friends with her. I fucking still love the girl to pieces, and I'm glad I waited. I'm glad it was with her, even though it kind of spoiled me a little bit. So now that we got sex and drugs out of the way, an hour talking about drugs and sex. A couple things I wanted to talk about. Did everybody watch Crime Scene, the disappearance at the Cecil
I've got
Hotel?
Stuff to say.
Okay. So, all right. So this is going to be a conversation, definitely, but I want to ask just simple yes or no questions to start off, just to kind of establish where everyone is, and then we'll talk about it. One, did you enjoy the docuseries?
Yes and no.
Did you like it?
Yes
or no?
Yes and no. It's a yes and no.
Okay. Okay. And my second question is the most important question because this is where everybody is divided on it. Do you accept the official story that you were given at the end as to how she died and the events that took place? Yes or no?
No, I mean,
Bob?
I think there's more.
I can see it as plausible since they fucked up about the whole hatch thing. So I can see it as plausible, yes.
By the way, spoilers, if you haven't watched this docu-series yet and you're listening to this, turn this shit off right now because it's going to be spoiled for you.
Yeah,
so you think it's plausible, but do you accept it, or are you still on the fence and maybe something else was going on?
I don't think it's likely that it went down that way, no.
Okay, Paul, do you accept the official ending of that docu-series, the official cause of death and the way that it went down? Yes or no?
I think there's more to it that nobody knows the answer to, or one person knows the answer to, but I think there's more to the story.
Okay, Doug, do you accept the official ending of that documentary and the official cause of death of how she died?
I'll be
yes or no?
It's not going to be a yes or no because I'll be honest with you. I made it through halfway through episode 3, and the first 2 episodes I thought were fantastic, but I started to get lost in episode 3, and I'm just like, look, I don't know what the official cause of death. If you guys want to spoil it, I can cut it out. It's not a big deal to me. I ultimately I liked it, yes, but I also didn't like it, no. But to me, I don't know the official cause of death, but from what I saw, what I gleamed, the posts about suicide and shit like that, the probability of drugs being the fact that she's around Skid Row, impressionable, like anything's possible. So I just kind of left it at that. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm just being honest.
So I guess that I'm the odd man out here because I 100% accept the ending of that docuseries. I 100%, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, think that what the official cause of death is how she died. And I'll get into it later of why I 100% feel that way.
So you think... let me make this question as simple as possible. Do you think she was going in there for a swim, or do you think she was trying to kill herself?
I think she was having a psychotic episode, and her mind was turning against her, and I think that she was running away from something that wasn't there, and I think that she went in there to find shelter and solitude, and she accidentally drowned to death.
The only things that I have trouble with that really bugged me out is in the elevator video. The elevator video is obviously like the biggest piece of evidence there is to what's going on.
It was doctored.
It was doctored. You can't say it wasn't doctored. And I come from the military intelligence world. If something's doctored, it was doctored for a reason. There's a reason something was hidden.
And the police say they didn't doctor it. The hotel says they didn't doctor it. Somebody clearly fucking doctored it. That's clear.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's my biggest problem.
You know, I wish... What did they say? It was roughly 53 seconds was missing from that video? 53 seconds out of 3 minutes is a big fucking chunk of time, man.
All you need was a split seconds for a third party to pass by the entrance of the elevator to be skipped out.
Even if they meant nothing to the crime or the accident.
Could it be nothing more?
Would be enough.
Could it be nothing more than a hotel employee trying to get her under control, and then the hotel employee just saying, "Fuck it, do whatever you want, lady. I don't care."
Right.
That could be, and the hotel's trying to cover their ass. But there's more to the story than what we're being told. I mean, to say I believe it 100% is like to me to say I believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself because the cameras in his cell were broken. It just so happened to be they are only broken that night for that period of time.
Yeah.
Realistically, we don't know the truth about that. He could have been so fucking grief-stricken about his actions.
Doubt it, but okay.
No fucking chance.
This guy's got jokes.
It's Sunday!
No fucking chance.
Sunday fun day.
But to piggyback on what Doug said, if they would have condensed the whole documentary into 2 episodes, it would have been perfect. It didn't need to be 4 episodes.
It was way too fucking long.
Even if they would have condensed it to 3, I would have been fine with 3. I felt like they drug it out too much. And to me, the most interesting aspect of the documentary was the whole internet sleuth community.
Now that's the next thing I want to talk about, because I think I think the point of that documentary wasn't about a young girl dying, and that's very, very tragic. But I think the point of that documentary that went over almost everyone's head that watched this thing was about the mob mentality of the fucking internet, and what a small group of fucking people of a community can do to change outcomes of people's lives. Case in point, the death metal guy whose life was basically fucking ruined.
Yeah, he was ruined.
Because he stayed at the hotel a year before she disappeared, and everybody was like, oh, you were there when she was there, you're a fucking murderer, and blah, 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 blah. And all of his fucking YouTube accounts got suspended, and he was fucking all this shit, all because people didn't know facts to something, jumped on it, and just fucking ran with it. I think that was the whole fucking point of this documentary.
The West Memphis 3, not unlike them either.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, absolutely.
To go on what John's saying about the internet sleuth community and like the mob mentality, if you guys, I believe it was the Internet Historian on YouTube, who's really hilarious, and I highly recommend you watch him. But somebody, and I think it's him, did a whole thing on the 4chan versus Shia LaBeouf with the "He Will Not Divide Us." Like, broke the whole thing down. Do you guys know the rough story of the Shia LaBeouf "He Will Not Divide Us"?
I do.
No idea. No idea what you're talking
John,
about.
you'll love this. I'll give you just a quick synopsis. When Trump gets elected, Shia LaBeouf hates Trump so much that he creates an art piece with the New York Art Museum called "He Will Not Divide Us," and it's a camera in the side of the wall of the museum where anybody from the public can walk up and look in the camera and talk about how much they hate Trump, and it's a 24-hour live stream online. Well, once 4chan gets a hold of this, they decide they're going to fuck around with this art piece, and they show up and they fuck around with Shia LaBeouf when he's there, and they fuck around, like, you know, they dress up like Pepe the Frog and stuff like that, and it bugs the fuck out of Shia LaBeouf that the 4chan...
He beats the shit out of that dude.
Yeah, so Shia LaBeouf decides, okay, I'm still going to do this 24-hour stream project, but I'm obviously not going to do it in downtown New York. So he takes the flag that's in the background, it's a big white flag, black letters that says "He Will Not Divide Us," and he takes it to an undisclosed location, puts it up on a flagpole in the middle of a field, and then points a camera at it, an all-weather camera, and just has it for a 24-hour live stream. The internet sleuths online pay attention to the star patterns at night. They notice airplanes crossing by the frames, and they start triangulating where the flag is, and they found it in a field in Tennessee. They go, take the flag down, and put up a Trump hat, a MAGA hat, with a Pepe t-shirt. So then that pisses him off, so then he moves it to the French Art Museum, because France is like, we'll put it on our roof, and their roof is fortified. Like, nobody can get to the roof. This turns into people try to break into this place at night. They get drones to get the flag off with like a drone flying in and taking off. It's just, but they all figured this out together and like how to get past the security. Finally, they put it in a cabin. He put it in a cabin in a dark room somewhere, and I can't remember where it was. Like, it was black, no lights, just one light pointing on the flag in a cabin in the woods. And somehow there was like a crack in the window where the sleuths were able to figure it out, still got it, and then he shut down the stream.
Shit is insane, man.
If people want to find something, so people could look at this podcast, break it down, figure out where the fuck we all live, just by streets that have been mentioned, little things, and they could.
Well, I mean, I'll cut that out, but I mean,
no, you don't have to. But that's my point: is if someone wants to do something bad enough and they're persuasive enough, you can get people to do anything. Like, and this is going to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent, but have you ever thought about how easy it would be to start a cult?
Yeah.
Never had a desire.
Don't have a desire, but yeah.
It's easy to start a fucking cult. You get a bunch of people who are weak-minded and that you can just control, and there's plenty of those people around.
Like
they're looking for some... I don't think it would actually be that much work. I would never want to do it, but you look at what Charles Manson did, and I'm not even talking about the murders. I'm talking about how he just got people to follow him for no reason at all. And how did he do that? Drugs, sex, alcohol.
He also did it in a world post the internet.
Yeah, I was going to say pre-internet.
Pre the internet.
Pre-internet. Yeah,
True.
pre the internet.
But there are still people around who need drugs, who need sex, who need alcohol, who aren't on the internet because they're fucking homeless and fucked up. It would not be hard to recreate that same scenario, as fucked up as it is. I think.
Man, I can't wait till this podcast gets flagged.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying.
The biggest,
You guys ever read the Anarchist Cookbook? It's one of the best.
It's stupid.
the biggest problem with what you're saying, Bob, is you have to adopt a lot of the Amish living styles because communication is going to be the biggest killer. And in a post-internet world, that's the hardest thing. The last real cult I can think of, I mean, if we're not counting Scientology, would be the divine heavenly that internet who like the internet suicide pact group like in '99. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah, Heaven's Gate. There's a
Heaven's Gate,
documentary on
thank you.
HBO about it.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, the ones that
And
they were all wearing their white Nikes or whatever.
Yeah, and that was the first and only one I can remember, like truly
Mark
that big.
Applewhite.
Once the internet came into existence.
Yeah, I'm not. I've watched a lot of documentaries on cults, and it's amazing to me that these people are willing to follow. Like, you look at somebody like Jim Jones, who started off as a fucking Pentecostal preacher with the snakes and all the bullshit, and he's like, "Oh, hey, let's all move to Ghana," and everyone's like, "All right."
You're talking about the 70s. You're talking about the 70s. We told the story of our father and a dog that he wanted to buy in 2020, which
isn't on any podcast, but whatever.
Where all the red flags were there to tell you how wrong it was, but at no point did he stop for the red flag.
Yeah, and trust me, I get it. I just
okay. You're talking the two references you've made are pre-internet type cults. You really should watch The Vow on HBO whenever you have time. It is a fascinating look at a modern cult and how the power of the guys. What would you call Tony Robbins? Like inspirational, motivational speaker. The personality of that mixed with the guise of being able to con certain people, to recognize certain people's weaknesses mentally and exploit that. And get those people to, in then turn, go to their friends and more people they know and infect them. And it at first on the surface of it, it sounds like a completely bullshit story. How would anybody be so fucking stupid to fall for this clearly fucking psychotic cult? But then you watch the survivors and you hear the actual stories and see the footage, the document footage that they all filmed, and you get it. I mean, you get it over time. You get it, man. You have,
and Bob,
it's been on my list for a while.
Yeah, the big fact,
amazing.
Wait, I have a quick question. So, wasn't that whole sex cult thing with the girl from Smallville post internet?
Well, that's sex trafficking. That's not a cult. That was against their will.
There was something else to it, though. From what I read, there was some other.
There's a lot of shit. There was a lot of shit. There was a core group of women who had been with this guy for years, who had brought women in and groomed them. One of them being, and I can't think of the actress's name, but there's now currently, or it's already aired, another documentary. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but it was on Stars, and it's about the you see it in The Vow. There's a celebrity from the 70s whose daughter now got involved in this cult. She was groomed by Allison blah 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 from Smallville and the other girls.
The closest thing to a cult is Westboro Baptist Church, but what broke Westboro was communication. Like once the internet was able to get them in contact with differing views, you could start saying, okay, maybe this isn't the right way. When I hear cult, it has to be 100% willingness, and the big factor of it is everybody wants to be accepted somewhere. That's the big thing. That's how cults thrive.
Is the big thing. That is how it is. Yeah, everyone wants a place in something. They want to be a part of something.
People want to be accepted. They want to be part of something. I agree. Even people like Paul, who live in the middle of nowhere and have their manifesto, they have to have their place in the world.
See, I'm trying to live a cult lifestyle without other people. I'm just a nomad.
Doesn't nomad mean to move around?
It means solo. It means by yourself. Not tied. Not tied.
Right.
Here, I'll Google it.
I'm pulling up dictionary right now.
No, you're Internet's
So
already
I'm not-
shoddy at best. Let somebody else do it, Paul.
I got it. Nomad. A member of a people having no permanent abode and who travel from place to place to find fresh pasture for their livestock.
Yeah, but not tied or affiliated with any person. That's the
Are you
essence of
finding
nomad.
fresh pasture, Paul?
Yeah.
I like the guy that has plush Mario Kart toys behind him is arguing this fucking point. That's rich.
I know. That's the great part about this.
So, anyways, going back to the crime scene that I was talking about,
Crime scene of the crime, starring Sarah.
not as good. Not as
Steven
good without
Seagal.
Sarah Marshall, absolutely. I think that what happened was that a girl stopped taking her antipsychotic medication, and she accidentally killed herself, had a psychotic break. It's something that, I'm not going to name her name, but somebody that I live with, I recently saw what happens when someone starts fucking with their doses that's on that kind of medication, and it's one of the most terrifying things that I've had to
Very
experience.
terrifying.
Very, very terrifying. Conversations that aren't there, seeing shit, hallucinations, erratic behavior. So with me watching that documentary, I totally buy the story. And I think what makes people think there's more to the story is all the shit from the internet, the history of that hotel being just a creepy fucking place where lots of shit has gone down. I think that adds fuel to the fire of a conspiracy that isn't there, plain and simple. I think that because of the internet sleuths, then on top of the fact that like you want there to be more to that story.
Exactly.
Watching that documentary, I wanted it. I wanted the outcome to be different. I wanted there to be a conspiracy. I wanted there to be some evil dark force that killed this poor girl. But at the end of the day, she fucked up her medication for whatever reason. She had a psychotic episode. She accidentally killed herself. But all these outside influences that came into this story created conspiracy upon conspiracy upon conspiracy. And a lot of it just comes to do with human nature. We don't want to accept that that's what happened to her. We want there to be more to the story. But at the end of the day, it's pretty black and white what happened to her.
I agree with you that she died from I have no doubt that is how she died, that she had a psychotic episode. I agree 100%. All I'm saying is somebody else knows a piece of the story, and what my gut tells me is like a hotel employee saw her with the whole elevator thing, tried to like help her out, and then just kind of said fuck it, and then when she came up dead later on, he's just keeping his mouth shut.
Wanted themselves off the footage.
Yeah, wanted themselves out of the footage for not saying anything or coming forward sooner. That's the extent of what my tinfoily hatness is to it.
Right. Okay. You know that's totally plausible, and I'd almost agree with that. And that footage was released by the police. So if there was somebody in that footage that worked for the hotel, the police probably followed up with them, interviewed them, and maybe they all agreed not to add fuel to the fire of this fucking insane case that was going on at the time. I mean, who knows, man? The big thing, that whole documentary was all about the hatch. Why was the hatch closed? And then you find out the hatch wasn't
closed.
John?
And then people bring up about the dogs not picking up her scent, and the police even said, "Yeah, we were negligent. We really didn't fucking investigate the."
They were very clear about that.
with her scent. They admitted they fucked up. They admitted they botched that from the fucking at the end and stuff like that. So
does anybody remember this when it happened? Like, do you guys have the memories from when it actually?
I've never heard of it.
I
never heard about it until the documentary.
I have an idea that might be good for the podcast, but not just the podcast, but for everybody's peace of mind on what really happened. I think we ought to get a hold of Skylar.
And Chad.
I think we ought to have Chad.
I think we ought to call Chad and go do a seance.
And have a Discord seance with Chad over virtual.
Look, I watched Toast. I'm not doing that.
Well, one of the things that bugged me in the documentary, and I mean it was a small thing, when they had the dog who lost their scent on the fire escape, how would that not be your first clue to say, hey, let's go check out the roof real quick?
Right? Hey.
How come nobody checked out the roof until a week later when everybody was like, man, this water tastes like Asian girl?
Pure. Oh, Jesus.
It's like
Paul, too soon, man. Too soon.
Tastes like green peanuts.
So, I know Doug believes in the supernatural. Paul?
Not so much anymore.
I know you did, I should say.
Oh yeah, very much so. But now,
Let's define supernatural. Do I believe in like ghosts, or are we talking encompassing of aliens?
Anything,
aliens,
bro.
I believe in.
Anything.
Well, yeah, like is alien? Would you consider alien a supernatural?
no. They're
No.
You're talking
Better
about
life
ghosts,
form
spirits, like the
galaxy.
Wolfman. I believe in supernatural to the extent of I believe that spirits can roam the earth for periods of time.
Hmm.
I'm very
Like
Dan.
in
I have very similar beliefs to Dan Aykroyd, just not as intense as Dan Aykroyd.
Do I believe in the supernatural? I'm going to say like 5%.
See, I would say I'm a good
Very, very little.
50-50. Because I've had some things happen
Okay.
that I personally can't explain. It was me and 2 other grown-ass adults sitting there when it happened. And I was like, okay, it's fucked up.
I'm definitely intrigued by the paranormal. Like, ghost hunters, I know a lot of people give shit to ghost hunters, but the one thing I liked about ghost hunters is they always went in with the mindset
And
to
tried to debunk it.
To debunk it.
Right.
And there was 1 or 2 times that they couldn't come up with a solid logical explanation as to shit that happened. And I respected that aspect of it, where they actually tried to find something, but they weren't professionals and they weren't scientists. They weren't Egon and Spangler.
Yeah. My story is very simple, and it's not even creepy. It's just weird. So it was me, my father, and Ken. We were all out at this place that my dad worked. We called it Manland. It was the 480. It was a 480 acre orange grove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bob's told me this story before. This is great. Yeah.
Welcome to my Manland, Bobo.
So there's a tree there that is several hundred years old, and it's fairly well known that it was a hanging tree back in the day. Me and my dad and Ken are sitting there on a John Deere Gator. You know what those are?
Hmm.
So we're just sitting there. It's the middle of winter, and we're talking about our favorite horror movies and shit. It's 34 degrees out, which is cold as fuck for Florida, and there's no wind at all. It's just cold. And then we got this super hot blast of wind, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to say anything. And then my dad's like, why the fuck did it get so hot? I'm like, okay, cool. It wasn't just me. And then Ken's like, okay, so you guys felt that too. And because it was like a quick blast. And I'm like, all right. And you can hear leaves falling, but there's no wind. I'm like, all right, so let's sit and figure this out. So we're trying to talk out the possibilities. And after an hour of nothing happening, we're like, all right, let's just head back to the trailer. So you go down this row of orange trees, and as soon as you took the left, we had a 90-degree blast of wind hit us in the face as we were trying to leave. And we're like, yep, let's just go. I don't want to figure it out anymore. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, guys, I'll get in. I can't handle Mother Nature tonight. This peyote's kicking in.
It was fucked up, dude.
There's been times in my life where and I mean this might be more of the mental human consciousness fucking with me. Like I've been to Normandy, I've been to Auschwitz, and there's definitely a feeling of going to places like
heavy. Well, that's just heavy history, man. It's going to do something to your psyche and your subconscious being in a place like that. I mean, it's just going to weigh heavy on your fucking your goddamn soul, man.
And that's kind of where I was going with that. Was you think about places that would or could be haunted if there are such things, and obviously places like Auschwitz and the concentration camps, those are really high on that fucking list, obviously. But then
like Gettysburg.
And then you think of a place like Poveglia Island. This is an island where they took all the people who had the plague and just left them to fucking die. And then just, hundreds of thousands of people in a mass grave. If there's any place that's haunted, that place is probably pretty fucking angry. Mm-hmm. Those people were just left to starve,
That's the same with Sarasota. There's all the clown ghosts of the Ringling Estate.
I've seen them
wandering around, honking horns and making blow-up balloons. Animals.
It's true.
when I was a kid, I had I had some problems. So I had a child psychiatrist, and he was a
They failed.
really
Fucking
good
horrible.
therapist. Really good therapist. He was really good. Really helped me out a lot. Turns out it was Bruce Willis, and he was.
Well,
No, but seriously, paranormal. The haunted warehouse in Lehigh. I had one fucking paranormal fucking experience of what I thought it was.
Nightmare. That was a nightmare.
Went to this place with my friends, the haunted warehouse in Lehigh. It's this fucking warehouse, two stories.
You were with me,
warehouse
John.
in Lehigh. No, this is before. This is before you came with me. This is how I got you to come with me.
Right, I forgot
I had been there before.
I'm sorry.
So basically, the story was that some kids were playing fucking LARPing or live action role play, whatever, in there. Some kid bought a real fucking axe to the game and accidentally killed a fucking kid in there. That was the fucking story of it.
Undisputed.
You go there, the place is creepy. Absolutely, that kid's a champion. Anyways, so that was the story behind it, and place is creepy as fuck. So, anyways, I'm walking up from the first story to the second story, and I get about halfway up the fucking stairs, and I'm freaked out. I'm fucking wigged out, and all of a sudden, in my left ear, I hear like somebody exhaled, like fucking directly in my fucking left ear, and I look around, and my friends are fucking nowhere near me. So I fucking calmly turn around and I go back downstairs and I get in the fucking car, and that's where I fucking stayed until my friends were done exploring there. Because that creeped me out. And then I told Doug about this. Me and him went there with the video camera. But this is probably about, I don't know, a year later. And me and Doug fucking roll up to this place, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. And we have the windows rolled down. And just as we're about to put the car in park and get out and go investigate, we hear a shotgun being racked and loaded, and Doug fucking threw his car in reverse, and we're fucking going down this dirt road in fucking reverse.
dude,
I remember this night so clearly in my mind, and I bet if I sought him out, I could probably get the footage from the camera that night. But if I remember correctly, my buddy and went with us as well. I remember it had the camera. It had a video camera with night vision on it, and I remember you got the directions. We drove down the road, and I remember hearing that there was a guy that stayed on the property as a rumor, and then, so I turned the headlights on the car off, and we started slowly inching away. And I remember asking for the camera so I could look out the side window with the night vision and see if there was any danger to us. And I remember as he went to hand me the camera, that's when we heard that. No headlights is when I floored it in reverse. That was the scariest shit I've ever experienced.
Because somebody was there protecting that property since I had been there. There had been vandalism, graffiti. I mean, that's somebody's fucking property there.
There was drug raids there too.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
A lot of drug raids there. A lot of raves.
Doing a photo shoot. I used to do a lot of photo shoots in weird areas.
Yeah, that was.
What are you listening to?
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah,
I was doing a photo shoot with some friends, and basically the subject of the photo was one of my friends. He was painted down his body completely black on one side. So I was doing long exposures, so half of him would disappear.
like Steven Tyler.
Yeah, only years before that. And without any digital editing.
So much wrong with the world today. I don't know what.
It's around 3:30 in the morning in the middle of the woods, and this dude's buck-ass naked. And we got fires running everywhere. And some rednecks roll up. And my buddy was off doing something else. And the rednecks roll up, and they're running their mouth to me. And I'm like, you guys really should go. It's a really bad idea for you to try to do anything right now. There's this many of us, and there's you and this girl, and I'm like, I'm looking over, like, yeah, that's not the case. And my buddy, who is painted black, and completely naked, walks right up beside this guy with a fucking 12 gauge Mossberg. They're like, okay, you have a good night, sir. Because they turn and there's just a naked man painted half black holding a shotgun in the woods. And like, all right, we obviously came upon the wrong group of people this evening.
Can we talk about Dave Chappelle for a second? So we talked the other week about, him getting paid and then everything being available on Netflix again. Any of you guys actually go back and watch it?
The
Chappelle show? No.
Chappelle show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it like a month ago. I have the DVDs.
Yeah. I watched all of it. And show still holds up. And it's still offensive as fuck. It's still racist as fuck. Also, on that note, I tried watching the Tiger Woods documentary on HBO.
The what?
And it's a series. The Tiger Woods documentary.
I watched
it. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. However, the first episode, I just kept giggling because every time they started talking about him being black, I just thought about racial draft.
I've always wanted to say this.
God damn it, Dave Chappelle. I hate you.
Hello, fried rice. So long, fried chicken.
Yeah. Tiger Woods happy being black, and that's good because I just received words that he has lost all of his sponsorships. Tough break. There's always FUBU.
We at the Asian demographic choose the whole Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan investments.
You gotta diversify your bonds.
I also love the early aspect of musical performance. The young Kanye Q-Tip.
Oh, most
around. Fucking Wyclef John, if I was president.
Yeah,
some good shit, man.
Love that song.
Okay.
Was a great show.
I know you guys all love Kanye, so I know I'm the odd man out here because I never got into any.
Nothing
Kanye.
wrong with it. There's nothing. I understand fully why people don't like him. I totally get it. I happen to get into him at a time where his music affected me. But that's not to say to the point that I also recognize that the last two albums he did were just not him. They were somebody different. They were a guy going through something.
His personality.
Kanye West as a human. I don't like him as a human being. I like him as an artist. I only like his first three albums. But as a producer and as a artist, those first three albums of his, you can't fucking touch them, and they're amazing. But I don't like him as a human. I don't like him as a human being. I think he's fucking nuts and very egotistical, narcissistic.
Well, he's definitely a narcissist.
You also have to take into consideration the time Kanye West broke and how he broke, like with Jay-Z and that whole triangle.
Through the wire thing.
And when his mother was still alive, and he broke at a time where his music was just influential to everybody. And the dude, I'd go further than John. I personally, the last hit from his first album to Yeezus. Yeezus to me was his last truly great album. That was produced by some of it was produced by Daft Punk and various phenomenal French artists and producers and shit. But his first couple albums, it drives me nuts when people are like, I don't like Kanye. I'm like, have you listened to him? Yeah, he's just not for me. I'm like, that dude, if you pick like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or 808s and Heartbreaks or Late Registration, any of those fucking albums, like the production value, the beats, the music is just, take away the lyrics, the fucking music is beautiful.
I think so much of it just depends on the person and their mindset at the time. Like, I get on these kicks where I use music to set my mood and to change my mood. Like,
I do too.
A lot of people apparently can't do that. Apparently that's not a thing everybody can do.
It's not for me.
It doesn't affect them that way. Like, there's this band that I got into because of a podcast I was listening to, and the band's from Australia. And the band is called Gang of Youths. And I think I sent you guys a link to him a while back. And the guy, he has a very Springsteen-ish type voice. But his lyrics, man, the dude is just so... He reminds me of Counting Crows in the way that he's so far out in front of the band, and the band just keeps up with whatever he's doing perfectly. Like, there was a lyric I heard last night, and it's just... randomly in the middle of the song, it says, because not everything means something, honey, so say the unsayable, say the most human of things, And if everything is temporary, I will bear the unbearable, terrible triteness of being. Like, that's just a great fucking line. Not everything means something. You know, I love that. Just simple, you know.
I would say for me, I'm more inspired by lyrics than I am the actual music. If that makes any sense.
I get that. I mean, I know that's why you were a big Creed fan.
I'll tell you what, like seriously, the music I love the most is like 80s and golden oldies.
Right now, everybody, pull up your Spotify, and what's the recent playlist on your Spotify? Let's go through it.
Playlist or last thing you played?
Like the last.
I'm not gonna do the first 3 because it was me trying to prove a point to my mom. So I'll do the first 10 after that.
That's cool.
So,
we're gonna do 10. Okay.
Do 10. So, Purple Rain, obviously Prince.
Good fucking album.
Go Farther Into Lightness by Gang of Youths. Silver Linings by Less Than Jake. Propagandhi's last album. AFI's last album. Polyphia Inspire. White Pony. And then I did a playlist.
It's a good album.
I did a playlist, the whole Art of Storytelling Outcast playlist. And then Rumors.
Great fucking album. Great fucking album.
Audio Machine Chronicle. And then Andy McKee.
Mine doesn't have albums listed, it just has the songs. Do you want me to just list the songs?
Sure. That'll work.
Carry On My Wayward Son, Kansas, Renegade, Styx, Rooster,
Supernatural.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the inspiration for a lot of the music I listen to is the Supernatural soundtrack. Rooster, Alice in Chains, Heat of the Moment, Asia, Desperado, Eagles, Ready for Love, Bad Company, and Simple Man by Leonard Skinner.
Simple Man's a great song. And I'm going to interject before you do your list. I'm one of the few people on earth that can't fucking stand the Eagles. I don't know why.
Very few songs. Yeah, I could live without them too. Very few songs I like.
I don't know what it is. I just can't get into the Eagles. Anyway, go
Desperado.
on.
I love the song Desperado. And I like versions of it, like covers of it, like more so than the original.
Yeah. Doug, what do you got?
You got one, John?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay. All right, go for it.
The Gold album by the Bouncing Souls. When You Found Me, which is the new Lucero album. Leonard Skinner's Greatest Hits. Talking Heads' Greatest Hits. Leonard Cohen. And then there's a playlist called Malt Shop Memories, which is all 50s, Dion on the Belmont and shit like that.
I thought you said mulch. I thought you said mulch shop, and I was thinking like some kind of horror movie.
And then there's brothers from other Mothers podcast, Bill Burke podcast, and the Lyrics to Go podcast that I've also on that list.
Oh, Joe Rogan is my main podcast, but I have a lot of other podcasts too. Tim Dillon was on Joe Rogan, in case anybody was wondering.
It was a good one too.
It was a good one.
Mine is Cecil Lauder, False Hopes. Dinosaur Jr., Give a Glimpse of What You're Not. Dinosaur Jr., Where You Been. Run the Jewels 4. That's 4 albums, right? Dinosaur Jr., Farm. Foo Fighters, Medicine at Midnight.
I haven't listened to it yet.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I hear. What's Foo Fighters? Of course it's going to be good.
Beck, Mutations. High Fidelity. That was 6 or was that 7?
7.
Oh,
7. Okay, so we got High Fidelity soundtrack. That's 8. White Buffalo, Prepare for the Black and Blue EP. That's 9. And The Money Store by Death Grips. That's 10. Honorable mentions after that in the Airplane Over the Sea and Chocolate and Cheese, Neutral Milk Hotel and Ween.
Good stuff.
I love Spotify so much.
Me too.